annoying when they try to put us women in all industries, even me, against other women that are doing just as well. Like, I don't know if you'd seen that kind of like weird go back and forth with like some of Tyla's fans, and I feel like that. What is your thoughts on that?
No, like that doesn't bother me at all. That's my girl, that's home girl, that's my G. So that doesn't faze me at all. I don't care about all of that.
Everyone be quiet.
Yeah, please.
Less noise, more music. This is it.
More music. Let's support each other. Like, why not?
Oh my God!
We need to talk.
What if the Ayra Starr and Tyla beef isn't about Ayra and Tyla? What if it's a mirror showing us exactly where black pop girl stardom is right now? Because here's the thing. Since Rihanna and Nicki Minaj globalized the black female pop star space, the industry has been selecting acts from more diverse backgrounds, most notably the Caribbean, the UK, and now Africa. But along with this mass importation of foreign artists, the same rigid rules of only one of you gets to win has been spread at large, resulting in black female pop stars being shredded apart before they're given a chance, or more often black girls are pitted against one another. Something we're watching play out in real time with Tyla and Ayra, two African girls forced into a rivalry neither of them asked for. But this feud exposes something even deeper. The industry keeps thrusting stars on us. Ice Spice, Lotto, Coi Leray, and it's turning off the public. Nobody wants a pop girl they didn't choose. The industry can try to sell artists all they want, but that doesn't mean the public will automatically buy into them. And if you're paying attention to who the people actually rally behind, SZA, the massive support Normani had when she first came out. Even Coco Jones, there's a pattern there too. The next black pop girl, she's gonna have to look less ambiguous. Let that sink in. I was moved to make this video because outside the superficiality of the Rihanna, Tyla, Ayra drama, there was a bigger issue to be explored, which is the current state of black female pop stars. Where are the black pop girls has been a trending discussion for a few years now, and though I think the answer is multifaceted, a huge piece of the puzzle can be found in this feud. Bear with me. So how did we get into the state of the current black pop girl quote-unquote drought? Well, we need to look at the big three, Nicki, Rihanna, and Beyonce, specifically Rihanna and Nicki. Rihanna crafted this cool island it girl who was simultaneously a fashion icon. She turned herself into a high-class party girl whose effortless, chill demeanor gave the world another version of a black pop star to idolize. One rooted in vibes and later entrepreneurship with her massively successful Fenty line. Rihanna's fusion of Caribbean sonics in her hits also helped diasporic sounds become more popular, bridging the divide between the black audiences in the UK, the Caribbean, Africa, and the US, while also dominating in markets black women had a hard time crossing over into. Meanwhile, at the same time, Nicki had created a new black pop star archetype as well. She leaned into being a larger-than-life caricature, the Harajuku Barbie, influenced from Japanese culture, and this caricature, larger-than-life persona is a staple in pop music. Think David Bowie, Cyndi Lauper, Madonna, Gaga, and Grace Jones. Other than Jones and maybe Lil' Kim, black girls weren't doing that in hip-hop, but incorporating pop elements made Nicki a hybrid rap pop star who crossed over with her catchy choruses and gritty lyricism. She made a whole new lane for black female pop stars to follow and created a new pop star model for the world to consume.
Another one, thank you.
Now real quick, I have to bring up Beyonce since she is part of the big three. Beyonce in comparison to Rihanna and Nicki is more traditional. She's a mix between Diana Ross and Janet Jackson. And of course, there's some other models thrown in there. Beyonce stayed true to her roots and followed the traditional path of black pop stardom, following the legacy of soul acts and Motown, exporting a standard black American pop star model. Because of the new standards Nicki and Rihanna set and the new avenues they created, the industry in turn has tried to replicate black pop stars in their image, bringing along the rule that, only one could fill the void each of these women will leave behind. So now that I've touched on Rihanna and Nicki's influence, it makes sense why Ayra and Tyla are pitted against one another. They're both trying to fill the void Rihanna left behind.
Was like, what the heck?
Both are immigrants, both produce diasporic music, and both use fashion as a cornerstone of their brand. And yet, the industry will only allow one to win out. But let me rewind, because the origins of their rivalry will tell you everything about how the system works. Both artists became active during the shutdowns, when global music was starting to reach new heights, and music executives were watching how African pop was taking the world over by storm. Marvin Records, one of Nigeria's most prolific labels, were in search of the next global superstar. It already had success with British Nigerian act Tiwa Savage and Wande Cole, but it was ushering a new generation of artists ready to take over the world by storm. Don Jazzy's Mavin's Records co-founder got lucky when Ayra's original song Toxic went viral on Instagram. He quickly signed the burgeoning model to a record deal, adding to his new lineup of global superstars.
But modeling wasn't her end goal. She was determined to be heard. She began posting song covers on social media, performing songs by artists like Andrea Day and Tubaba, while slowly building an online presence. In December 2019, Ayra uploaded an Instagram snippet of an original song titled Damage, which caught the attention of Maven Records boss Don Jazzy, who reached out to her directly. Shortly after, she signed with Maven Records and made her official debut in 2021 with a self-entitled EP. The rest, they say, is history. Ayra Starr went from being a regular teenager in Benin Republic to becoming one of Africa's biggest music exports, becoming the first female artist in the history of the official Nigeria Top 100 to reach #1 with a solo song, and holds the records for the most #1 entries by a female artist on the chart. This is Ayra Starr now.
And from there, the groundwork for Ayra's global domination was set. The song Striss spawned massive singles like Away, Beggy Beggy, and one of her first global hits, Bloody Samaritan. But it wasn't until she released her signature song, Rushed, in 2022, that Ayra became a permanent fixture in international markets.
You never thought you'd ever papas. Which kind of money we never see before. Cause tell of me, got me feeling I'm the one.
In the UK, where it charted number 24 on the official singles song chart, and number 5 on the French charts. It later went on to become gold in the UK, Spain, Denmark, platinum in Canada, New Zealand, 3 times platinum in Nigeria, and it went diamond in France. Around that time, in the southern region of the continent, Tyla was also primed for global stardom. The South African genre Amapiano was taking over the scene. Many Amapiano songs became viral on TikTok, and with this new wave of attention, it attracted Garth Von Glenn and Brandon Hicks of Fax Records to start scouting for talent. Here's where it gets interesting. The first artist to gain international attention was Sho Madjozi. I think they signed her under a management creative deal. These two were instrumental getting her directly signed to Epic Records after her John Cena song went viral. Remember that. Unfortunately, Madjozi never caught on like her fans would have liked. There were label conflict, management issues, and there was even fan theories that Madjozi fell out with Garth Van Glenn because they were in a supposed relationship, and after the breakup, he set out to tank her career a la Tommy Mottola style. Sho Madjozi eventually retired from the business in 2024, noting that she didn't like fame or the lifestyle that came with being an artist. But by that time, Fax Records was around 3 years old, and it had cultivated a new global sensation. Tyla. Tyla was signed to the label as its only artist. Von Glenn and Hickson were adamant that she would be their winning ticket. She had the look and the sound.
I don't know about that.
Tyla released her first single, Getting Late, in 2019. Now, and this is important, there were a lot of skeptics who thought Tyla's Getting Late blew up inorganically, labeling Tyla an industry plant, which I think is understandable but also complex. To me, Tyla's rise seems like a very traditional label path. You're undiscovered, then you're signed to the label management, and they curate your look, your sound, and then they promote you to as many people as possible. Depending on the music market you're in, there's a lot of countries where you can't break into the industry without a deal. Superstar independent artists aren't common everywhere. Same with Ayra, she didn't have a full-fledged music career before Maven. Not to mention, both girls were incredibly young when they were signed, both were teens, and to give Tyla some credit, to my understanding, she had a moderately successful TikTok presence before her deal. I think that's where her label discovered her, but her entry point into the music business was through a machine. And from the very beginning, they were going to globalize her. Her label formed a partnership with Africa Creative Agency, one of the biggest management companies on the continent, just for Tyla. So at the time they released Getting Late's music video, she was interviewing everywhere, getting nominated onto major award shows, getting lots of online hype. I think this extends to her early interactions with Ayra as well. Their first public collaboration was December 2021 during Afrochella. Ayra brought Tyla out as a special guest for her set. That's where Tyla performed her quote-unquote hit song, Getting Late, and at that time, Ayra was riding high on her global smash, Bloody Samaritan, a song that got her a MOBO nomination, after reaching number 4 in the UK Afrobeats charts. Who would have known in only 2 years' time, Tyla would no longer be presented as a lesser-known act to Ayra, and that the summer of 2023 would change their dynamic forever.
Have a whole Grammy nomination. Celebrities are dancing to it, listening to it, reaching out. So it really surpassed my expectations, but I always knew that it was a smash.
Tyla released Water, and it became an international sensation. From that point on, Tyla would be considered the bigger star, and their fandoms went to war. The mobsters, Ayra stans, felt like Ayra should have been the bigger star. because of her immense talent and her knack for making catchy hits.
Of course. Hello. I'm literally Ayra Starr. What the fuck?
When did you...
They didn't like how she was being overlooked in comparison to Tyla. Things only soured as time went on, when copycat allegations were thrown Ayra's way, forcing mob sources to point out that many times Tyla took inspiration from Ayra. There was constant back and forth between mobsters and tigers, who was the bigger star, who had the most accolades, the better looks, and better talent. But something I have to mention is the geopolitical elements underneath the tension. South Africa and Nigeria aren't cool with each other right now. Apparently, South Africa has an immigration problem, and there's been many conflicts between locals and migrant workers in the country. Locals blame migrant workers for the lack of resources caused by the corrupt South African government, and so they attack them. Nigerians have been the most highlighted victims of these attacks, but it's important to note that they aren't the only ones.
South Africa has long attracted migrants from other African nations because of its relative wealth. But tens of thousands of foreigners have fled the country in recent weeks due to growing xenophobic protests and violence.
Aside from that, there's also resentment from Nigerians with Tyla being established as the face of African pop music, because she beats out Nigerian legends in the award show categories, and they feel like Tyla's predecessors are being undermined just for the sake of her success. And lastly, I have to add how antagonistic tigers are. They feuded with so many fan bases, from Britney Spears to the Beehive, and the latest conflict now is with the Navy, Rihanna's stans. They have a penchant for trying to tear down or undermine the female legends that have come before Tyla, which is in stark contrast to Ayra, who has had co-signs from so many female artists: Kelly Rowland, Jennifer Hudson, Leanne, with the biggest being Rihanna. I've also noticed Ayra has cultivated friendly relationships with Coco Jones, Justine Skye, and Thames. Her and Thames, they promote each other like they're sisters. Is it real? I don't know, but I like to believe it is. And from all this, it seems like Ayra goes out of her way to not have conflict and to uplift others. And tigers are so delusional and nasty, in my humble opinion, and if they're not tearing down female legends, they're starting up diaspora wars every other business day, with the irony being a lot of people don't even consider Tyla black.
And then black woman to black woman.
Girl. Girl. Girl.
But as I digress. Fast forward to the present, Tyla's biggest controversy, the Met Gala drama. Tyla was spotted in a video in the same vicinity as Rihanna, shrinking in a corner. It spawned memes and rumors of tension between the two, all of which were heightened when Tyla decided to respond to the speculation in a TikTok. This ended up making things worse.
I look crazy right now.
Eliciting a response from Rihanna herself. It was a simple Met Gala recap video, with none other than Ayra Starr's song Who Dat Girl, or Who's That Girl, playing in the background. The message was plain: Rihanna didn't care for Tyla, and more than that, she chose Ayra as the girl to watch. Tigers were furious, beefing with mobsters and Navy fandoms online. Some tigers went as far as to make fun of Rihanna's Chris Brown's DV situation, but fandom wars aside, this prompted conversations about Rihanna's legacy and who was going to fill the void she left behind. And here's the kicker. The industry is positioning Tyla, but the general public isn't accepting that. And this is where the state of black female pop stardom becomes the real story. You know, when we're talking about who is good enough to fill in whose spot, we have to ask ourselves, do we even have enough eligible people who can fill the void of any of these major black pop girls that are leaving their posts? If you haven't noticed, the current big three are entering their swan song era or have left music completely. Rihanna, the pop queen from Barbados, Nicki, the queen of rap from Trinidad, and Beyonce, the queen bee, all have had over 10 years of music dominance. A very long time in pop music, where the nature of the industry has a high turnover rate. Now, there have been many contenders: Chloe, Bailey, Normani, Coco Jones, Victoria Monet, Tinashe. Then we had a slew of rap girls throwing their hat in the ring: Lotto, Ice Spice, Meg Thee Stallion, Koi, Doja, and Doechii. But the only ones who have been able to sustain from all these artists is SZA, which is real disappointing because I had really high hopes for Doja. She had a great run in the early 2020s. Now, there's a lot of reasons why some of these girls didn't take off or last, but the biggest reason is infrastructure. The labels behind these acts only gave them a short window to build a dedicated fandom and obtain massive amounts of success without giving them a strong foundation for longevity. That's the edge lots of international acts have. Usually their labels are invested in their long-term future, and that's not even touching on the lack of support Black genres are getting right now.
It's like, hey!
We literally watched the divestment of hip-hop along with the whole generation of rap superstars get wiped out. Yeah, real quick, if you like what you're watching right now, I have a video that touches on how difficult it is for UK to export Black acts. This is before the rise of Olivia Dean. It also touches on some infrastructure issues as well, so check it out when you have a chance. Anyways, back to the video. Have you all noticed that the tides are changing? Gone are the days the general public would accept any racially ambiguous pretty girl. People want more. They demand talent, but above all, they want inclusion. In the past few years, people have called for various phenotypes from Black music to be represented. That's partly why Normani has so much fervor behind her when she first went solo. A dark-skinned pop girl was deeply needed in the mainstream, and from that hype, labels took notice, signing acts, most notably Coco Jones. Now, I must note Coco has opted out of being a pop star, preferring to be a R&B artist instead, since she feels like it has longer shelf life and there's more, and it better suits her, like the lifestyle. Nevertheless, people want more rich chocolate girls to be promoted on the world stage. Looking at the Hollywood side of things, actors like Ayo Edebiri, Arsema Thomas, along with immense popularity of reality stars like Alandria and Shelley, prove that there needs to be space for unambiguous Black girls. It doesn't mean light-skinned female artists no longer hold weight. It just shows we need more inclusion, and more importantly, that people need to co-sign. It can't be the industry pushing someone onto us, or not just pushing someone onto us, because they're always going to push, right? And this is where the Tyla problem lives. She's being positioned by the industry as the next up, heavy promo, heavy push, and the public is pushing back. There are so many reasons for this, but one being, nobody wants a star they didn't choose.
Can I get some tissue, please? Like, my makeup is very important. I'm trying not to cry.
Tyla's industry play accusations highlight how privileged her ascension was. They're about the fact that her rise felt manufactured. It's similar to the Doechii situation right now. Yes, Doechii is representation for Black women, dark-skinned Black women. However, her rise was so forced down our throats, we were never given the opportunity to sign off on her. We were told to like her, and as a result, the public rejected her. The people smell the machine. Meanwhile, who does the public rally behind? SZA, who built gradually from the ground up, Normani, who earned every ounce of that support through her sheer visibility and representation, especially from her time from Fifth Harmony, Coco Jones, who the people watched the industry sabotage only for her to fight for her spot. Even with Meg Thee Stallion, I can understand why people sympathize with her, surviving so many attacks from toxic male rappers and incels. The industry can manufacture a star, but they can't manufacture why you choose to care about them. It's the people's choice at the end of the day. Circling back to dark-skinned Black women representation in pop music, there's been lots of viral discussions on which kinds of Black girls deserve a shot to be the next big pop star. When Chloe was coming up, there were colorism allegations. People thought Normani and Ari Lennox weren't given as much promotion as Chloe because they were too dark. Similar talking points happened during the Rap Girl Spring, where a slew of light-skinned mixed-race rappers were being pushed on the public as the new generation of Black pop stars. People were asking where the dark-skinned Black girls were. Colorism discussions were especially rampant around Ice Spice, who went through 2 fallouts from ex-affiliates who were both dark-skinned Black women, along with an industry fallout from Doechii. As I mentioned earlier, she's also a dark-skinned Black female artist. The only dark-skinned pop girls out now, and this is the closest, okay? If you consider them brown skin, that's okay too. Right now, from what I can think of, is Meg Thee Stallion and SZA. But MTS has fallen off, and for some reason, no one mentions SZA as a Black pop star. Outside of music, there was another battle for Black girl representation held online, this time targeting TV and movies. Recently, there's been a cancellation of Black-led TV shows, while simultaneously, there's new shows that have been released or have been promoted, omitting the Black girl roles altogether.
Hey, usually I'm cool, but now, like, I've been waiting.
And if there is female Black representation, most of the time it's played by a light-skinned mixed actress. And as a response, there's a lot of conversations online about recategorizing biracial people as non-Black so they can be replaced with quote-unquote proper Black representation in the media, with someone who has 2 Black parents at least. I think this speaks to the struggles of the lack of opportunities that Black people have in this white country. We all know the system. If you're part of a disenfranchised community, those in closer proximity to whiteness have more privilege, especially when you're mixed with white. I think the solution is to have more inclusion of all types of Black people to be represented in media. We shouldn't be fighting amongst ourselves about the opportunities given to a certain part of the community. There's already so few chances for Black girls to break through, much less cross over, whether it be music or film. We need to remind ourselves, those providing opportunities are our oppressors, and the colonizer doesn't care if we categorize whoever. They own the platform, so they are casting whoever they want regardless. But despite the industry pushing a certain phenotype in our faces, it's clear from these cultural moments that the fans are the curators of representation being sold to them. They have the power to make or break them, and the consensus is clear. The next generation of black pop girls, whoever they are, need to have unambiguous black women included. Plural women. Speaking of unambiguous black pop girls, I think Ayra Starr is a strong contender. Ayra has an interesting archetype. She has a lot of Nicki Minaj influences in her model. Comment down below what influences you see in her model, by the way. She doesn't have a caricature alter ego, but she does have her celestial being persona that highlights her spiritual alternative side to her. Some of her musical themes align with Nicki's empowerment anthems. And side note, the way Ayra incorporates dance into her artistry reminds me of Michael Jackson a little bit. Like, I don't think people credit her enough for her incredible moves. I think she can go far, and I hope she can cross over in America in her own way. Anyways, I can see why the industry is pitting Tyla and Ayra against one another. They think there's only one spot. The industry favorite seems to be Tyla, but the people's choice, that might be Ayra, if you ask me. And I never thought I'd see the day where African female artists would be in serious contention as the next big pop star in America. And here's where it all comes together. As time has gone on, the black female pop space has grown to allow more types of different looks, archetypes, and sounds. Nicki and Rihanna helped it expand. They globalized the occupation to those outside the black American standard.
I hate to be boring, but I'm Nigerian, eh?
In the past few years, we've had stars with Caribbean backgrounds and British ones. The biggest British black acts right now are Olivia Dean and Pink Pantheress. Hopefully they'll outlast their predecessors from previous generations. We had girls from South African and even Filipino backgrounds, but I'm hypothesizing that the next big black pop girl that actually breaks through, the one who doesn't just get positioned but actually stays, she's gonna have to look less ambiguous. The public is demanding it. The success of SZA, the fervor behind Normani, the groundswell behind Coco Jones, that's not a coincidence. That's a marketing signal. The pipeline, it's still broken. Some parts, the labels are giving artists shorter windows, less foundation, and less investment in longevity. This whole scarcity rule that the industry is rolling with is still in operation. Like, yes, there are some setbacks that we have, but it's just really kind of exhausting. Like, two African girls can't have the top spot at the same time. Like, really? Honestly speaking, if we're gonna have two pop girls at the top, I would rather have someone like King Maddie or Bloody Civilian along with Ayra, or just, bump up Thames. Thames is already pretty famous, but you know what I mean. Like, come on now. So what do y'all think? Am I reaching? Comment down below, and as always, thank you for watching. Please comment, hype, subscribe, all that good stuff. Goodbye.